Welcome back, everyone, to another segment of the MCR. Mac and I coming at you. And in this one, just kind of a follow up to a previous one we've done about the Chinese balloons. It looks like we got UFOs everywhere now. Just in I would say, in the last 72 hours of making this segment here, in the last 72 hours, two more unidentified objects have been shot down in and around Alaska and northern Canada. It appears the one was entering into Alaskan U.S. airspace, and the other one sounds like it was entering into Canadian airspace. And the interesting thing about the Canadian one was Justin Trudeau gave U.S. the go-ahead to shoot it down with an F-22 Sidewinder, it looks like. So, it's still going on. Any thoughts, Mac?
Yeah, well, my first thing I wonder is, would Trudeau have not, would he have given the go-ahead, or would he have let it come across Canada again and into the United States if we hadn't pointed it out to them, so to speak?
Well, at the risk of theoretical wishful thinking here, I think they had egg on their face after that one that went pretty much across the continental U.S.
Yeah.
And if they did it again, I don't know if that could have. I don't know how they could have possibly rebounded or spun that one around in any way. I mean, people were already saying, you let this thing go across the entire U.S. over ICBM sites, over military installations, and did nothing.
Well, here's the thing, too. They said that they didn't want to do anything because they didn't want it to injure anyone. Well, the governor of Montana said, shoot that bitch down because it can fall here and it's not going to land on anyone. But someone I saw on Retalk asked this question, which is a good question, I thought. So I guess the same goes for aircraft. Because if a Chinese MiG comes crash into the earth, there's a good chance that's going to hurt somebody.
Oh, yeah.
Are they just going to let that go too?
Well, I feel like this whole EMP thing, the threat of an EMP, just got taken up a notch.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I think people have been naive to how catastrophic an event like that would be. I mean, we're talking apocalyptic lifestyle here. As far as, I mean, I'm actually wondering if something like that were to happen while I'm at work, it could take me 12 hours to walk home. I mean, these are the kind of thoughts that are going through my mind now.
Then because you're at work, you're walking home unarmed, and God knows what behavior of people will be at that point in time, freaking out.
What you said is, I'm wondering, do I need to stash something in my trunk now? I just, oh my goodness, it's just, I say that because, the job's got certain rules regarding weapons and whatnot, and you don't want to get fired from your job or anything,
Correct.
But, something like, I mean, I live about a 32 minute drive from my house to work. And I think it's somewhere in the neighborhood of 21 miles or something.
Yeah, and you're going to walk through Detroit too.
Well, no, I've even thought that far ahead. I'd go north to the point where north enough to where if I went from that point when I went east, that would get me around the Detroit city limits. You know what? Here's the thing. I've already had these thoughts. Is the point of all this?
Well, Semper Paratus, the Coast Guard.
In my mind, I'm already coming up with contingency plans.
Yeah.
Well,
we used to like to brag that we had contingencies for our contingencies.
Yeah, big time. And here's the thing. The cell phones are going down, so I can't even communicate with my wife. I can't even tell her how or where to, get to the means of self-defense. You know, I just,
Well, maybe that's worth going over prior.
well, you know what?
Having a plan.
Now all sorts of contingencies are coming to play here. You know, it's just stuff that you see on TV that you'll watch a movie of and like, oh man, these people are screwed. You know what? All it takes is one of these balloons with the wrong device on it. That's kind of where we're at this point.
Yep.
And they've clearly, well, I was going to say they've clearly displayed a willingness to let it enter into the airspace, but I think they took so much heat over that first one that went to our continental U.S. Yeah, not like I said, in the last 72 hours, in Alaska and northern Canada, yeah, they're shooting these suckers down now.
Well, in our first balloon video, I quoted a Senate report from, I believe it was 2003, talking about how 2/3 of the population in the United States would be dead in a matter of months. If you go 3 days without something to drink, you'll die.
Yeah, and people don't realize the water that they get from their faucet is coming from the city works, which require electricity.
Yeah, they're not only up to with electricity, as we learned in 2003, coincidentally, as the same year as that report. We had in the Northeast, including Michigan and parts of Ohio, we had a major power outage and had no water.
Well, going back to that incident, I did have something stashed in my trunk because yeah, in my mind, we weren't that far away from that scenario.
It only lasted, at least for me, 27 hours, but people were losing their minds already.
Oh yeah,
because you couldn't get any information.
Yeah, and anyway, I'm just hoping that they put a stop to this stuff violating our airspace.
When the American people wanted to get rid of mean tweets, and you have the FBI and the CIA at least interfering in our elections, then I don't know, how are we going to stop it? What could you or I do other than be prepared for the worst? I don't want to kill my neighbor over a sip of water.
Yeah, and the very people who were involved in the electoral anomalies, as we like to say, might have been the very entities that have been keeping this hush hush under a supposed UFO program or something.
Yes, because if you're not aware out there in YouTube land, these have been going on for years, and they didn't inform the president. It happened during the Trump years. They had no idea.
Well, I think what really got the attention was when it entered into the pass of commercial flights, and pilots were saying, "Hey, man, what's going on up here?" Out of concern of flying into one of them.
Well, that's one of my concerns as I go to Las Vegas here in a few months. I don't want to look out my window and see a damn balloon.
Yeah. So I don't know if I'm hoping against hope or not, but I just hope they get a handle on this nonsense. You know what? And all the derogatory remarks made about the preppers and whatnot. This situation does is prove the preppers right.
Well, here's what I've never understood about that. Oh, they're nuts. They think this terrible stuff's going to happen. You know what? It could be any terrible stuff that could happen. A meteor could strike the earth and cause this. How is it crazy to be prepared for the worst to happen? If it doesn't happen, then you're not out anything.
Yeah. So that's all I got for this one.
Okay.
Any final thoughts, Mac?
Nope, I'm good.
All right. Well, you know what? Be prepared. That's the moral of this segment.
Semper Paratus.
And that's it for this one. We'll call it a wrap and catch you in the next segment. As always, be safe, watch your six, and don't tread on me.